Hello, everyone. I am Kiera Moore, licensed mental health therapist, and I'm super excited to talk to you about self-esteem. I had the pleasure of talking with some teens and adults this weekend, and I wanted to share with all of you what we discussed at our self-esteem workshop. So let's jump right into it. So this was the workshop, and these are the books that we use: Improving Self-Esteem. I am Kiera Moore, again, licensed mental health therapist. I am currently licensed in the state of Delaware and Pennsylvania. And I have two practices: Kiera Moore Therapeutic Services and Embracing Oak Therapy. These are the workbooks that we use for the workshop, and all of the content today can be found in these two workshops, which are available on Amazon, or you can go to kieratmoore.com or embracingoak.com. So what is self-esteem? Self-esteem is what we think, feel, and how we behave towards ourselves. Are your thoughts towards yourself positive? Are they negative? Are they indifferent? Are you happy with what you see when you look in the mirror? Do you treat yourself with respect? And are you well? Do you treat yourself well? There are a lot of things that impact our self-esteem. Some of those things are your thoughts about yourself, your peers, your family, your environment, how you are brought up. All of these things can impact our self-esteem. But those aren't it. There are so many more things that have a major impact on our self-esteem, and I want to make sure that we address them today. So our thoughts, that is a major one, and we'll get into that a little bit deeper in a moment. But what you think about yourself is the number one factor in your self-esteem. And we want to make sure that by the end of this presentation that your thoughts about yourself we're at least planting the seed to improve the thoughts that you have about yourself. What other people say, that has a huge impact. Comparing yourself to other people. Working full-time in a middle school, I have a lot of preteens and teenagers, and this social media era has a major effect on self-esteem. And the moment, I say the moment that you compare yourself to other people, you've already lost, because you have discounted everything that you bring to the table, everything that you are, and you are comparing it. You don't know what that other person experienced to get to where they are. And like social media, only the highlights of that person's life is being shared. You know, the great things that they're doing, the fun vacations, the best angles, the filtered pictures, the, heavily filtered and heavily edited photos, all of that, the highlights of their life, you're comparing that to your everyday life. And that is not a fair comparison. Distortions. That is something that is based only in your experience. For example, if you, let's say you have an acquaintance, and let's use a boss or a teacher. We'll use that as a better example. For a teacher, say you raise your hand and they don't call on you. And so you begin to think that that teacher doesn't like you, or that teacher has a problem with you, or she doesn't think you're smart. So you begin to have all of these thoughts and opinions about why the teacher didn't call on you to answer the question, but that's only based on your experience. You're not really taking into account all of the other children who have their hands raised, how many times you may have already answered the question, or if the teacher is already aware that you understand and is trying to help someone else who doesn't. If same scenario as if it's your boss or whoever, it's only based on your experience and your conclusion or what you think about that situation. You're not really taking into account all the other factors that make up what's happening. So that's what we would call a distortion, something only based in your experience, not necessarily a fact or the big picture, but just based in your experience. Core beliefs, that's what you believe about yourself, other people, and the world. And this has a huge impact on your self-esteem and how you treat and think about yourself. Negative experiences also have a major impact on what we think about ourselves, how we feel about ourselves, and ultimately how we treat ourselves. Automatic and negative thoughts. This is a huge one here. All of us have automatic thoughts, and many of us have negative thoughts as well. Some of those thoughts are more like reflexes, right? So I usually give the example when talking about automatic thoughts about my fear of cats. I do not like cats. And if I see a cat, no matter no matter how much time I'm given to process that there is a cat near me, I'm going to scream. Okay. So I see the cat, my automatic response is to scream or to jump. Okay. And it's just going to happen no matter what. And after that automatic scream or jolt or, moment of like that fight or flight, I then as begin to assess, okay, what is my true safety risk? And so after I'm gonna jump, automatic thought, I then say, okay, how close is the cat? Can I press the alarm on my car to make it run away? Is it close enough that I need to start running? Like, what do I need to do, right? So I get that moment to assess, but that comes after my automatic thought. And sometimes when we have negative thoughts, those negative thoughts are also automatic, right? They come as a response, immediate response, or, after you have some sort of trigger or stimulation, that automatic thought happens or that negative thought comes. But then it's our responsibility to address that negative thought. But having that awareness, knowing what those automatic and what those negative thoughts are when you think about yourself, that's important to know, because that is something that we want to address immediately if we are going to improve our self-esteem. So continuing with this idea, I want to talk to you briefly, and I'll try not to get super technical, but I want to talk to you briefly about the cognitive behavioral cycle. So using that automatic response, right, with the cat, I'll just use that same example. So the trigger is that I see a cat, right? And so my automatic feeling or emotion is fear. I begin to be afraid. I might start feeling hot. Like I have these automatic responses. So what you feel based on what's triggering you or what event happens or what stimulates a thought, feeling, or emotion, okay, that's the trigger. And then you have this automatic response. What's important for you to understand is that this part you don't have much control over, right? What you initially feel, that part you don't have a lot of control over, but you do have the more control over the behavior. This is the part between the feeling and the behavior is where you go from automatic response to full control, okay? And so if I'm feeling afraid, my behavior is either going to be to run or to scream, try to scare the cat away. And then the consequence or reward is going to be either me feeling safe, or if I, if something, an altercation happens with the cat, maybe I get scratched or something, like that would be the consequence. And then the cycle kind of continues, right? So this is how it goes. You got the trigger, feeling or emotion, behavior, and consequence. What helps us make better choices between that automatic feeling and emotion, whatever automatic response that you're feeling that you are entitled to, we add a coping skill here or some sort of behavior or response to control response to break the cycle here. Because if you have a negative feeling or emotion, it doesn't give you the okay to act out in a negative way. So using self-esteem again as an example, let's say you're feeling wonderful and you're having a great day and you think you look really cute, and then someone says something negative about your outfit, or they're not, they don't have something positive to say. Whether 5 people give you compliments, that one person that gives you that negative feedback is going to invoke some sort of negative feeling. You're responsible for how you respond, right? So if you lash out at them or you totally shrink, that's still something that you can control. If you lash out and haul off and punch them, there's going to be a consequence most likely. Or even if you shrink and you don't continue to walk in that confidence, that's a consequence as well. So we add a coping skill, whether it's deep breaths, assuring yourself, not allowing that person's negativity to be internalized within yourself. All of these things is where we regain control from the emotional experience to the behavior. One of the ways that we regain our control between our emotions and our behaviors is by recognizing our areas of control. So this is what I call our control bubbles. This area here, this is the things, this bubble will contain the things that we can control. And this bubble, as you notice, is much larger, contains everything that we cannot control. And some of those examples are other people, their opinions, their beliefs, behaviors, reactions, world events, leadership, and rules, right? That's just a very small list of the things that we cannot control. What we can control, though, are ourselves, our feelings, our thoughts, our behaviors, our responses, our beliefs, our reactions, and what we do. And when we recognize that we have direct control over ourselves, not without work, but we do have direct control over ourselves, then when we focus more on what we do control and less on what we can't control, we will feel more powerful. We will feel like we have the upper hand, and we will feel like we are having a better sense of control over our life. When we use it in terms of self-esteem, we have to remember that we can't control what someone else thinks or feels or says about us. And although they have the power to impact our self-esteem, when we recognize that their opinion is just that, their opinion, and it doesn't have to be ours, we can put that in the respective control bubbles. We don't have to allow someone else's opinion of us or other people's thoughts or feelings toward us to infiltrate our thoughts and feelings of ourselves. So I put this in the presentation because when we go back to all of those things that impact our self-esteem, so much of that list are things that we cannot control. And if we just totally eliminate that from that list by recognizing that it's out of our control and focus on what we can control of, we can improve our self-esteem. So that's how that all connects and relates. So I wanted to show this slide here, and I'm going to stop sharing because I want to talk about I am for a minute. So I put that on there because there are some exercises in the book, and it goes back to the automatic thoughts. So if you have a piece of paper or a pen, I want you to jot down everything that you think about yourself. And it can be maybe a list of 5 to 10 traits, right? If you have a negative trait, for example, we're talking about self-esteem here, and one of the biggest factors in self-esteem is our thoughts on how we look, right? Our appearance plays a huge part in our self-esteem. So if you are thinking, I'm ugly, okay? If that is one of your negative thoughts, then I want you to write that down. If your negative thought is that no one likes you, or that you're lonely because you don't have, no one loves you, you don't have friends, all of those kind of things, whatever the case is, I want you to jot that down, and I want you to create this list of what you think about yourself. And for every negative item on that list, I want you to then write a second set of statements. And I want you to start with I am. And then after I am, take every negative word or thought or phrase that you wrote down in the first exercise, and I want you to write the exact opposite. So if you wrote, I am ugly, then I want you to write, I am beautiful. If you wrote, I am weak, I want you to write, I am strong. And so again, you're going to do two things. You're going to write a list of items that you think about yourself, both positive and negative. And every negative item, I want you to flip it and write the exact opposite or the positive of that statement. And I want you to write it in the phrase, I am, and then write that positive word. And so your positive traits and your I am statements are now going to be what we call affirmations. And this is what I want you to repeat to yourself every day. Our negative thoughts, our automatic thoughts, they didn't stick with us. Those they didn't become automatic thoughts because we had them one time. They became automatic thoughts because it was something that replayed in our minds over and over and over again. And I want you to replay these positive statements, to rehearse them, to recite them on a daily basis, even multiple times a day if necessary, okay? And this is just a very small seed, a very small step in how you can improve your self-esteem. For more tips and for more activities and for more tools to improve your self-esteem, please purchase the workbook at Amazon.com, KiaraTMoore.com, or EmbracingOak.com. Again, thank you for your time, and I look forward to hearing how your self-esteem has been improved. Have a great rest of your day. Again, one more announcement. Embracing Oak Therapy is a 100% virtual practice, and it is our goal to provide affordable and free mental health therapy to all those who are in need. And if you would like to donate to our cause, please donate at embracingoak.com. Thank you.